when I hear body image, things like that, I think of to heal the body, you have to use the body, right? And I think of,
Yeah.
motion, because a body in motion wants to stay in motion. So if you start the healthy habits of just go walk around the block for the first day, to
Hmm.
just create that body motion. And then also the somatic, exercises of actually feeling your body. When was the last time you felt every single inch of your body? Like felt
Mm.
your body, the back of your neck, your shoulder blade, your collarbone, you know, truly felt what this meat suit, you know,
Yeah.
feels like that you're in. And it really brings you back to the center moment. And this is how I was made.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast.
Well, welcome back to the Unveiling the Beast podcast. You guys, I have Melani back with me, and today we thought we'd talk about attachment styles because as you all know, I'm very big on health, and one of my pillows of health is relationships and healthy relationships and how those can affect what goes on in our minds and our bodies. And Melanie is gonna give even myself um, a lesson. She's going to dive into attachment styles, which I do find fascinating because, like, when this is going to sound really dumb, but like, we are ourselves, we only ever know what it's like to be us. And so we only have the knowledge and experience of how we are attached to things and to people. And so naturally our brain says, yeah, that's how it is for everyone else, and it's not. So I'm gonna stop talking now. And I'm gonna
Oh, no.
let
So, anyways, my name is Melanie Le'ona. I am the love coach. And something I specialize in that's near and dear to my heart is attachment styles and attachment style theory. And what that is that we have these different mental models, right? There are four different models, if you will, of how we as individuals have formed our attachment styles in relationships, depending upon early years,
mm,
how we were, how were, how were we shown love? How were we not shown love? Where did it show up? Where did it not show up? Where were we lacking? Where were we yearning? Where did we have to close off and fend for ourselves? And these are the different mental models that people develop about themselves, and then also about relationships and how they look at relationships as well. So that's what attachment style theory involves. And there are four different models, as I said. First of all, is secure. They say about 50% of the population is under the secure model, where take it or leave it. Basically, it's a good way to
mm,
sum that up. I don't take on, you know, other people's stuff. If somebody's got their own issues, I can securely walk away from that. I don't try to fix them. I don't shut them out, you know. In relationships, I know what commitment is. If I'm of the secure attachment style, I know what commitment is. I'm not afraid of it. These are, these are people that usually last in marriages. The marriages that we see last, people say, what's the secret? And the secret truly is your attachment style. And the determining factor in that is your environment while you were growing up. Trauma, even trauma later in life can affect your attachment style. You can be of one attachment style and trauma happens in your life and it falters to a different, usually about 180 degrees different. And I've seen that happen multiple times. So, yeah, that was the secure attachment style, right? And the rest are the insecure attachment styles. And we have 3 of them. We have the anxious, preoccupied attachment style. That is the, I wonder if he's going to call. Should I text him? Do you think I should text him? I wonder if he's going to be there this weekend. Oh, wow. Look at his social media profile. Let's see who's in there. Who does he know that I know? That anxious, preoccupied thinking, right? Kind of overthinking, uncontrollable, intrusive thoughts even. And then, so that's the anxious, preoccupied. And what that is when you were young, you had to somehow earn love and keep the peace. You are the fixer. You could never quite do enough as a child to get that secure, you are enough as you are type of love. That truly unconditional love, where the anxious, preoccupied person is always wondering what they can do, how they can fix it, how they, did I screw up? They usually suffer from low self-worth. How can I fix it? Oh, should I have been better? What if I would have done this? A lot of overthinking, like I said. And then the last 2 are of the avoidant model. And those are your ghosters, you have the dismissive avoidant, which that's the ghoster. Okay, just poof, gone, poof, vamoose, out of sight, out of mind. And the dismissive avoidant grew up having to do everything themselves. They, had to stuff their emotions. Emotions were not something that were accepted and even dealt with, if that's, the way to say it. But come on, quit your crying type of environment. Quit your crying, man up, stuff those emotions, right? Avoid emotions at all cost. So when things start getting what most people, most secure people, and definitely the anxious people, when they start thinking things are really good, oftentimes that's when the dismissive avoidant will bounce. And I say bounce because it's like, boom, straight out of your life. Like they will delete you from their life too. Pictures, phone number, block. That's a very common one. Block. You're like, what did I do? And it's with a dismissive avoidant, it's not about you at all. It's all about them. It's about the closeness that they need to avoid. Because if you get close enough, you might see the real me. And I was told that the real me, I gotta push that. I gotta push that down. Feelings are scary. Feelings are almost disgusting to a dismissive avoidant. to where they will oftentimes match up with the anxious preoccupied, because at first, gonna get a little technical here. So at first, there is what's commonly called the love bombing, because the dismissive avoidant, they only know love through dopamine. And love bombing is all about the dopamine, right? The dopamine rush, the text, the good morning, beautiful, the, all those dopamine rushes that you get throughout the day. And the dismissive avoidant, that's the only form of love they know until they hit that, we got too close, too fast. I got to go type of moment. And it can be subtle. Sometimes it might just be, and I say just lightly here because I do not condone this behavior, but I know it, and it's a thing.
Yeah.
So it might just be 48 hours. And then it's what are you doing? Very common back intro, what are you doing? And a little bit of breadcrumbing along the way. And then the cycle ensues, because the anxious, preoccupied attachment style thrives off of that dopamine as well. But they thrive off of it in a different way. Not that somebody needs me, because the dismissive avoidant will often pick pet projects where they need them. They're the savior and they get that rush out of that. So then their dopamine is from, initiating, saving. And the anxious, preoccupied person is like, oh my gosh, my knight in shining armor has arrived. Everything I've ever wanted. How often do we hear women say that? He's everything I've ever wanted. And then it stops, because the love bombing stops, because the dopamine rush is too much. It's no longer needed. It's not doing its thing anymore, because now it's counteracting what their subconscious is programmed to think already. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So those two are very commonly adjoined, right? We've got the chaser and the runner. And between the two of them, often what will ensue is the dance, I call. And it's where they meet, right? Here we have our dismissive avoidant, the DA, and here we have our anxious preoccupied, right? AP. So the dismissive avoidant comes on strong in the beginning. They always come on strong. That's that dopamine rush again, right? Oh, we love that dopamine rush, right? But then, their words and actions have to start matching. So they've got to pull away a little bit, right? Well, the anxious preoccupied says, what's wrong with me? Why did they do that? Oh my gosh, maybe I should text them. Maybe I should call them. What if I say this? What if I do this? And they scoot their way chasing that dismissive avoidant who's trying to avoid you. Okay. And then they back up again. And then the chasing ensues again. And then finally, the anxious preoccupied person says, oh my gosh, to heck with this. This is too much. They go back. The dismissive avoidant is relieved. They are literally relieved at this point, because now the pressure's off. Okay. But they start thinking that, wait a second, I miss this person. I miss that dopamine rush is what they miss. I miss those texts. I miss those responses. I miss, making her feel good, making him feel good. I miss all of that. And so they come back. Oh, that anxious, preoccupied person is so happy. They have
What are
all
you doing?
the feels going on. So happy. Oh, he came back. He's changed. He's done all the things. But that isn't true, because he just makes it sound like that way. And he pulls back again, because inevitably they have not done the work yet, right? Otherwise, they won't be just avoiding you anymore. But, then the dance ensues. And that's how we see so many people, they're not even in abusive relationships, but they have this kind of toxic cycle pattern, right? And it all stems from childhood and trauma. If the trauma happened later in life, it
Yeah.
definitely affects things, because then we also have the last model, which is the fearful avoidant. It's often called disorganized. I don't like that one because, see, this was the category that I had to heal from.
Mm.
And this is where you've got a little bit of both going on. You have been traumatized and utterly betrayed in childhood, or somehow, probably previous to the age of 25 at least. Okay. And I'm talking about people that are not yet 25. I'm in my 40s here. So around the time, before 25, if you have something traumatic happen, it can very well adjust this. If you were secure, if you were anxious, if you were dismissive avoidant, it just all depends, right? But
Yeah.
um anyways, at some point you have been utterly betrayed and traumatized, and you no longer trust your guidance, let alone your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into it thinking that things feel amazing, right? Just absolutely amazing, right? And then what can happen is some sort of friction happens, and you build it up. You make the mountain out of the molehill, right? Because what you're actually doing is you're setting yourself up to have a mountain so that you can bounce, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can shut down. It's like you are your own worst enemy. You want that hug, but at the same time, the second you get it, you flinch. The
Mm.
best way I can describe it, right? And because at some point, there was a caregiver that made you want to fix yourself and yearn for that love and have that anxious, preoccupied attachment style. But then you have also been betrayed. And so therefore, you don't trust any emotions. Sure as heck, not those good feeling ones. So you self-sabotage. Avoidance, both dismissive avoidant and fearful avoidance, are the kings and queens of self-sabotage, because they will set up a way to run. They've always got to run.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how if you're anxiously attached, you're not the runner. So that's an easy way to tell. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is, these attachment styles, they show up in every relationship that we have, whether, whether it's, person after person after person, right? We see people doing the revolving door type of relationships, or they can just not date. Oftentimes, the avoidance can go years without dating, without a partner, because they are comfortable avoiding intimacy as much
Mm.
as they truly want it. Because make no mistake, it's not that they don't want the intimacy,
Right.
it's that their subconscious is scared shitless of it
Yeah.
because they've been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
When they've been vulnerable, they have been hurt. So that's the best way I can describe the attachment styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to add to the last thing you just said, like, it's not that they don't want it, it's just safer to not
Yeah.
pursue it.
Yep.
Because if I don't touch it, then I can't get hurt.
Exactly. And the sad
So,
thing is, your attachment style, as I've said, it's kind of fluid. Your attachment
mhm.
style can change. So that also tells us that there's the possibility that yours can change too. It can become secure
Yeah.
if, you learn certain, you have to do the inner child healing. That's imperative because that's, it's going back to the age where you first were hurt, or you first were neglected, or you were first told to shut up, or you were first made to see that your needs don't matter in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. So you go back and you focus on that inner child healing, and then going forward from there and working through that in your relationships and attachment styles. So yeah, it's not a life sentence whatsoever. Doesn't have to be. But the tough part is, like I said, avoidants want to avoid emotion,
Mhm.
right? They're not comfortable feeling emotion. They actually feel they're being needy once they start feeling those emotions, and they do not want to be needy. They have been told they can't be needy, right? Nobody will
Yeah.
love them if they're needy, if they show too much emotion. And so they shut down. They will shut that down instead. And therefore, last to reach out and get help and do the work.
Mhm.
Because even if they do some of the work, I've seen this happen where they can only go so deep, right? They can
Yeah.
only go so deep emotionally, where if not guided through those treacherous layers where they, want to just stop, shut down. I'm done here. I don't want to make another appointment. Um, they just stay at that surface level, avoiding, that healing work that's necessary to have the relationship that they do actually truly want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, catch 22.
This is a good conversation because I was listening to, I don't remember what I was listening to earlier, but they were talking about like how everybody wants a magic pill for something, whatever it is. We want the magic pill for weight loss. We want the magic pill for, what's the
Mhm.
right thing to do in our business. We want the magic pill for healing. And the last thing, as you were talking about, the last thing people want to do is dig deep to do
Yeah.
the actual healing that they
What's that
need.
magic pill?
Yeah.
It
And
is. It literally is. It's the life changer.
yeah. So it's this interesting, like people get good at taking the magic pills rather than like they'll spend the same
Actually
amount
doing
of
the work.
time taking 22 magic pills that
And
it would
spending
have
the same
taken
amount of
to
money.
dig deep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's other people that often say that they don't have the time or money
yeah.
to do what they need to do to better their life. I work too hard. I work too much. When I'm done with work, the last thing I want to do is, this type of work. Well, then don't complain,
Yeah.
because it's out there. It's ready for you, you know,
Yeah.
secret sauce.
Yeah. And it's more like an observation than a judgment for me. Um, but it's one thing I tell people, like if they say something like it's gonna take too long. Well, guess what? The time's gonna pass anyway. I've been saying that so much now my son is starting to say it. He's almost 8. Well, the time's gonna pass anyway.
Yeah,
So do the thing that's gonna help rather than, getting good at these magic pill quick fix things that you're so good at already. That's just stuffing it down even more.
exactly. And the thing is, the younger generation is expecting us to show up better. Like, I mean, the younger the people get, the higher their standards are for, have you done your work?
Hmm.
Now, the older generations, they're a little bit more stuck in their ways, right?
Yeah.
Younger generations are definitely seeing the light faster. Like, okay, they're in therapy, they're getting coaching, they are, getting multiple coaches
Hmm.
and improving themselves. Where I see I hate to lump people, but
Right.
it is what it is. And I'm part of that older generation. It took me quite a while to hop on this bandwagon, if you will.
Yeah. That extends too into like our technical, well, I can say the word technological advances.
Oh yeah.
Um, like the older generation has a hard time and
Accepting.
seeing kids on a device because they didn't have devices when they were kids or when they were raising us. We didn't have devices. And
Mhm.
so like, and I've seen this with my mom and my son, like my son watches a lot of educational stuff. He's super smart, and I don't think he would have as much knowledge as he does had he not had the devices to learn from.
Mhm.
And of course, there's like, time limits and stuff like that. But the other day, I told my mom, I said, did you know that everyone in my son's class has their own laptop? And she was like, what? Like I think it clicked, like this is the generation, like use the technology. And then going back to the coaching and healing, like this is the way. Like people are catching on. In order for us to thrive and be our favorite versions of ourselves, we have to dig deep into ourselves. And the outside guidance to help us find our own answers, not be told what to do, but
Right.
help us find the answers that we
Guidance.
already have. That's what we need. I think, and I'm going to say a blanket statement, I think everybody needs that. Every human on this earth.
I agree. I am a huge believer in, I heard Lewis Howes on the School of Greatness podcast, and he said that after his last relationship and after being single for a while, he decided that any relationship that he got into, they were going to start the relationship with couples therapy. Not because they have an issue trying to fix the relationship, reacting.
Mhm.
They were going to be proactive. And
Mm,
imagine that, he's
I
got this
like that.
beautiful, healthy, happy relationship, and
Yeah.
one to model after, in fact. So, yeah, shout out to Lewis House out there.
Yeah. And that's cool.
I think it's so
Yeah.
commendable.
That's a
And it
cool, oh,
shows
sorry.
you, yeah, no. It shows you somebody's willingness to grow, right?
Mhm.
Are they willing to, go into the weeds within themselves to, make their garden beautiful, if you
Mhm.
will.
Yeah.
Pull those weeds, instead of just, I don't know, pulling the curtains and pretending that the weeds aren't there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that's what people do, unfortunately. But
It's interesting because I've heard people say, well, if you need couples therapy, then you just weren't meant for each other. It's like, no,
I don't
that's
believe that
not,
at all.
no.
I think that power couples are created through growing together, right?
Hmm.
They don't just happen like that, right? It's
Yeah.
this is all of me. This is the blood, guts, the gore, right?
Yeah.
Show me your blood, guts, and gore. All right, let's stitch it up and figure out how to make this work together, right? Because both of us are healing all that
Yeah.
blood, guts, and gore,
Hmm.
you know, and not running away and not clinging too long are pretty key factors in that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, because, back to that attachment style and thinking about that, healing together type of thing. I've seen it happen and it's beautiful when it does, as long as both parties are already of the mindset that we're just going to grow together. Shit will hit the fan. Shit will happen
Yeah.
because we are human, right? But what are we going to do with it? This is how I used to react. This is how I used to react. Let's do it differently. Let's learn how to do it differently together. proactive,
Yeah.
so that when it happens, not if, when, because I don't know who people are, trying to fool themselves for, but it's ridiculous to think that you could be in your 30s and 40s and not be affected by your previous relationships and your
Yeah.
previous traumas and how you grew up. Bless our parents' heart, but the 80s and 90s weren't exactly like the most, I don't know, known eras for self-improvement. More like suck it up, buttercup, man
Yeah.
up,
Mm-hmm.
that type of mentality, you know,
Yeah.
or just completely not there, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, to your point, how these attachment styles are created in our childhood. I mean, like most of our programming is from our childhood. And one of the things that I've learned, just like in my studies and my coaching and all of it, is that like the person who's stuck in whatever attachment style, it is not your adult you that's stuck there. It is your child you. That
Yeah.
is like that's like 5-year-old little Katie, right? That's like 6-year-old little Melanie. That's
Yep.
who needs to heal
Yep. And
so that
that's
it
where
can,
we bring up
yeah.
that topic of emotional maturity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where when we have emotional maturity, we no longer have the need to get defensive,
Mm-hmm.
to argue our point. We can see people for where they are and let them go where they are. We
Yeah.
can, um, yeah, it's just a matter of letting it be. You know what I mean? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
either fixing or shutting down, learning those coping mechanisms to self-regulate so that you don't have that inner child temper tantrum, if you will.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I've heard it said we're just a bunch of adults walking around with children inside of us driving the bus,
Yeah.
you know? And until you heal that child and recognize that child has emotions that are valid, they're
Yeah.
valid. They deserve to be felt, heard. It might suck, might be extremely uncomfortable, but do it. Learn how
Yeah.
to feel, learn how to walk through it without a crutch, you know, like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Healing your attachment style and not continuing the pattern. I mean, it doesn't just help us, but you were just mentioning your son and how, they're watching. They're watching. And what are we modeling? Which model are we giving them? Are we giving them secure? Are we giving them insecure
Mm-hmm.
attachment models? We can be the greatest parents in the world, but if you aren't modeling a secure attachment style, that will affect them.
Yeah.
Obviously it affected us, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I might have said this in our last conversation, but my goal for myself lately has been to be the person I needed growing up. Um, and I'm, having this conversation, I feel like that is extending to my son. Um, one of the things my coach always says is no matter what we do, we're going to fuck up our kids one way or another. You just have to offer to pay for their therapy. But it's so true.
right?
Like it could even
Oh,
be like
yes.
I needed more attention growing up, and therefore I could be giving too much attention.
Over.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
could be
lot of
overbearing.
that.
I
I
don't
see
know
a
yet.
lot of that.
I'll find out when he's a girl.
Yes, I see a lot of that. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to give my child what I never had. And it's almost like parents have become codependently living vicariously through their children through overgiving and, kind of even over attaching to where, being the good parent is so much a part of their persona that without that, they don't know how to operate as well. Because they give so much of themselves when that job's no longer available come 18, we have the empty nest syndrome. So, yeah, that's a hard balance, man.
Yeah.
That is a hard balance. My son's 23 now, and yeah, now I send him, audio books like, oh yeah, I know I screwed up in this area. You should read this one. So,
Yeah.
yes.
That shows maturity though on your part too, because like I can imagine that there's parents out there that are like, "Oh, you're still blaming this on me," or, whatever. I haven't seen that, but I can just imagine, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, if we can be like, "Oh yeah, this is where I screwed up in my parenting. I'm sorry. Here, go get a
Here,
therapist."
here's a pamphlet. No.
Here's a book. There's a place you can go.
Right. Sorry
Yeah.
about that, kiddo. But honestly, that is the maturity part because you're not going to ever be a perfect parent. My God.
Right.
You are human and we do the best we can as parents, right? To show up the best we can.
Yeah.
And I think the number one job though is to continue to grow as an individual so that you can show up as the best parent possible for that child. They deserve that,
Yeah.
and to grow in all areas,
Yeah.
not just, oh, I'm going to focus on my fitness, right? And improve that area or my diet or my finances, right? That's that surface level type of healing, if you will.
Yeah.
But where, if you really want to be the example of a good relationship, you have to dive deep within. You have to spend time by yourself to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I this, this whole I am a health coach, but in that health, like you said, it's not just your diet and how you exercise. It's are you healing, mental health? Are you sleeping?
holistically, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mind,
I
body,
don't know
spirit.
why I have this thing for the label of holistic health coach, but that's really what I am because it's
I
all
know.
the I have 7 different, I call them pillows because I think sleep is the most important one, but sleep, healing, what are you eating? How are you moving? What do your spaces around you look like? Are you de-stressing by pampering yourself? Those kinds of things. Um, and it all creates I want to say the whole human. And it's not like we have to do all this stuff all the time. It's like, you know,
You need to intuitively
yourself.
know what you need when you need it and listen to
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
but the thing is, that's also training yourself to be the main character in your own life. Because if
hmm
you are always giving unto others, you are not creating the space for you to listen to your own intuition. Does that make
hmm
sense?
Yeah.
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 You need
Because you're
to.
always focused on what do they need
Mm-hmm. Yep.
versus what do I need and how can I fulfill that so I can give them what they need.
Yep. And fulfilling that 9 times out of 10 is not external.
hmm
We try to, even scrolling is external, right? We will
Yeah.
justify the scrolling because, oh, look at this meme I got, it's all self-improvement based, my algorithm's all self-improvement, you
Yeah.
know, but the scrolling, that's that dopamine again. And that's what we
hmm
have to watch out for and monitor and, be real about it.
Yeah.
because if you're going to heal all the things, you have to pay attention to that dopamine and where you're getting it from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get it from yourself, man. Come
For
on.
real. Get out in nature, go
Yeah.
exercise. Yes. And I am a full believer in giving yourself that physical self-love also.
Yeah.
That's all part of it. Give yourself
Mhm.
that dopamine rush. Be comfortable in that, in fully loving yourself holistically.
Yeah.
The body is included in that holistic experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a
So
tough one too,
it
especially
is.
like I grew up being taught to hate my body. And
Oh,
so that was a big one for me. That took me a long time. And I'm not even fully at a place where I'm like, oh, I love you so much, body, but I love it enough to take care of it. And like what I tend to focus on with myself and with my clients now for the body love piece is like what can you do like with your body? You know what I mean? Like for me, it's holy crap, I can deadlift 220 pounds. I've made a human. I've ran marathons and half marathons, not full marathons.
oh, that's
Like
still a lot.
all this stuff
That's
that
still
the
a
body
lot.
can do. I love that about it. Do
Yes.
I like the way it looks? I'm getting there. You
Yeah, but
know,
that's just a
before it was
societal
like,
paradigm,
right.
how it looks.
Yeah.
I saw a clip the other day and it was what the perfect female body looks like
Blech.
throughout the ages, right?
Oh, throughout the
Talking
ages.
from like BC to now.
Got
And
it.
all the different, I mean, we're talking big up here, big down here. I mean, we see it now. In the
Yeah.
90s, it was all about the big up here, right? Now it's
Mm-hmm.
all about the big down there.
Mm-hmm.
And that will change again. Even in the 90s, we had like the Kate Moss, that they're this big around.
Yeah.
Skin and bones look. Also had
Yeah.
that back in the 60s and 70s,
Biggie.
right.
Yeah.
And but then before that, we had Marilyn Monroe, for God's sake, the ba-boom,
Mhm.
ba-boom. And so it will change, but
Yeah.
your image of yourself doesn't have to. And so like when I hear body image, you know, things like that, I think of, again, to heal the body, you have to use the body, right? And I think of,
Yeah.
motion, because a body in motion wants to stay in motion. So if you start the healthy habits of just go walk around the block for the first day, to
Mm-hmm.
just create that body motion. And then also the somatic, exercises of actually feeling your body. When was the last time you felt every single inch of your body? Like felt
Mm.
your body, the back of your neck, your shoulder blade, your collarbone, you know, truly felt what this meat suit, you know,
Yeah.
feels like that you're in. And it really brings you back to the center moment. And this is how I was made. This is it. This is how I was made. For some God only knows reason, I was
Yeah.
made exactly like this. And somehow that's, perfect as it is. And the more you, and this is going to sound funny, I don't care. The more you touch yourself, the more you'll love yourself.
I don't want anybody else.
Yes.
When I
The more
think
you touch
about
yourself, the
me, I
more you'll
touch
love yourself.
myself.
Yes. Yes. I love that
Oh
song, by the way.
man. Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know about you, but I grew up like it was not talked about. It was, kind of shunned, if you
Yeah.
will. And so, just the era, it was, nobody talked about that. And I fully believe for a woman to step into her full empowerment, she has to embrace that holistic model of mind, body, soul healing,
Yeah.
you know, and that body part, body, yada, 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 yada,
Yeah.
body crazy curvy. I mean, it's beautiful as it is. And
Mhm.
yeah, the societal paradigms will change. But like
Yeah.
I said, your self-image doesn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, our self-image is what determines the results that we get in life. And so therefore self-image is everything. And then that goes back again to that inner child healing, because that little kid is the one that feels not worthy, or fear of abandonment,
Mhm.
fear of commitment. All of that has to be healed in order for you to truly love yourself, mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul, however you want to say it. So, yeah, the but the body piece is it's so often neglected because we get caught up in the body image
Mhm.
instead of the feel and what we feel like. You know, when a woman has the big O, I mean, that's like fucking glitter throughout your
Mhm.
whole damn body, you know?
Mhm.
It's it's the most amazing feeling. It is the most high vibe that you can get, when you are talking about, vibrational frequency. The big O is that's definitely high vibe in it up there.
That's up
Yes,
here.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it's a great way. Give yourself that dopamine rush. Women so oftentimes just don't. Men they have no problem with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have been trained since they were young. That that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Women, on the other hand, have a much harder time. Like if I were to go like this, it might make some people uncomfortable. Just because women, right? But women are, we're taught we have to be prim, proper, demure, and that's all beautiful. I do,
Mhm.
I like that saying, lady in the street, freak in the sheets. But to be a freak in the sheets, do that for yourself.
Mhm.
Give yourself the glitter. We deserve it just as
Yeah.
much as anybody else.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's a huge, I tell people that all the time, especially when they're working on their body image, is feel thyself. Not just heal thyself, feel, like truly feel every inch of you, even your feet.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a great methodology, if you will, in healing.
Mhm. I'm having sparks of creativity flowing through my head of I recently posted a sleep meditation to help people fall asleep.
I
And
love
I
it.
just got this idea of what if I made a meditation to help you feel your entire body? Not like
Oh, yes.
you know what I mean?
I
Like
love this. Yes.
something, yeah.
I
So
love
side
that.
note, Katie, when you're editing this, side note. Yeah.
I love that. Yes. And to truly like envision, like close your eyes and envision your body.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, ooh, we don't even know, like, what does that look like? Okay, naked, vulnerable.
Yep.
What does that look like? Can we love ourselves naked and vulnerable? That is fucking imperative. That is so, so clutch. You need to be able to love yourself naked and vulnerable if you ever
Hmm.
expect anybody to love the whole you. You have to first. You got to show them how. Yes,
Well, on that note, I have one more question for you.
I love it.
And I'm interested in seeing if it's the same answer as last time because I ask at the end of every episode, but I have recently changed the way I ask. So,
Okay.
if everybody in the entire world stopped what they were doing and looked at you and said, please give me some advice, what would you say?
Out of your way. That's what I would say. Get out of your way. Stop pointing the finger. And, be brutally accountable and brutally vulnerable with yourself. Yeah. Get out of your way. And how do you do that? Gotta get really honest. You gotta talk about the things that you don't like to talk about. You have to be willing to go deeper than surface level. Otherwise, you're gonna have a surface level life, and it's pretty hard to lead a happy, high vibe life if you're just surface level. Yeah. The real joy comes when you can let go and heal all of you. It's so damn important. And it's so worth it. So worth it. But I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, people actually doing it. It takes strength to admit you're ready for different. So, if anybody ever wants that different, Lord knows it's out there. I mean, it's not just me, it's not just you. There's a world of help out there. Just start with reading a book, Read the book Secure Love. It will shine a lot of light on your attachment styles. You can go to my website, sheisthelovecoach.com. I have an attachment style quiz on the website. I have coaching packages, everything. I have workbooks. I have everything that you would want. So there's a wealth of tools out there. If you're tired of the insanity of doing the same thing, hoping for a different result, you can literally get a different result. But you have to get out of your own way.
Boom.
Yeah.
Beautiful beasts, Melanie signing off. Until next time.